Okay, so I'm gonna reconstruct my 21.00 mean of 3 at Thailand Quiet Championship 2023. It's quote unquote only my PR3, but I was more satisfied with this than my PR2, so I'm just gonna reconstruct this one instead. So anyway, the first scramble looks like this. It had 4 bad edges here, 6 bad edges on red front, and 4 bad edges on white front. So immediately you can already see that green front has 4 bad, it's a 3 move EO. On the inverse, green front is actually a 2 move EO, and you can extend that into a 3 move EO. And also on normal, the white front is a 3 move EO, and there's 2 of them. So there's a lot of short EOs already. In fact, even the 6 bad is a 4 move EO. So on this scramble, I didn't even write down any 5 move EOs because there were just way too many 4 move EOs and 3 move EOs. So let me just show you something I found before I show you the main DR that I used. So on white front, there's 4 bad edges here. It's a very simple 3 move EO, but if you just do a D2 before you do the 3 move EO solution, so D2, F, R prime, U prime, you get EO done, and if you look at red DR, it's DR minus 3C2E, and like the top is already set up for the trigger, so all you have to do is just align this, and then it's 3 more moves to DR. And this is a 8 to 4 quarter turns. So like when I got this, I was saying like, okay, so I'm probably going to get like a half decent result already, maybe like 22, at worst 23. So like, like, but even then, like I felt like 8 to 4 quarter turns isn't the best that I could do on this scramble. So let me just show you the one that I found next. So what I did next was see this on this green front. Uh, it's a 3 move EO, but I didn't find anything from that 3 move EO. What I did instead was do a random F2, then I insert the other 2 pieces, so U prime D2 F prime, and this doesn't leave you with any. Actually, no, it does. So what you can see here is that the top is like these 2 blocks, and then the bottom has like this thing. So if I just do a U, now this cube is in JZP, because all these corners are either facing towards you or facing away from you, including these 2, and all the bad edges are on the S slice, like these ones are on the S slice. So this is JZP, and I had a look at what the count of the other X is, and this side is it's 4C2E. So JZP 4C2E is pretty good. In fact, okay, so on this scramble, right, I actually was not planning to NIS any 5 to RZP, but because I knew this was JZP, I figured like it might be worth doing a NIS. So I switched off of this, and if you look at this side, you see something pretty cool. It's actually already set up to the trigger, because like, it being in JZP increases the chances that it's already set up to the trigger. So of course you can either do D prime R2D, or you can do U prime B2 U. I did U prime B2 U prime because if you look at the DR now, it's a 3 quarter turn 2C DR, so it's actually 6C, but so let's look at the good pieces instead. This corner and this corner. So it's 2C, but it's also 2E 2C, because you see there are only 2 good edges, so it's just one corner here and like this block of like 3 pieces. So actually this is already set up to the 2C 2E trigger, and actually if you did the other trigger variant, you don't get this set up already. So I figured this was the right one to try. So the DR trigger goes like so here you can either do like, you can do like any quarter turn, but I decided to do R just because it keeps like the numbers smaller. I don't want to deal with like 4C6E. So yeah, I did R. By the way, R prime fails, so R is the correct one. So R, and then here you can just kind of see like if you do a B2, you will set up the thing already. B2, then R prime U2 R prime. So that's 5 more moves to HDR off of an 8 move DR. So that gives 13 to HDR. And this case doesn't look like anything that I would immediately recognize as an easy case. But because it's a 13 to DR, I sort of expected that I would have to sort of try a few things, because like, even a 7 or 8 move finish can still give a good result. So after a while, I found this. So I found that if you do an F2, it builds like these 2 pairs, then R2 to like align. You see now I have these like 4 pairs going on. Then if I do u2 d2, it kind of looks now I know that this is an easy case already. I can just do f2 d2 r2 to leave me with m slice in 20, and I have like these 3/4 turns to work with, so there's a high chance that you can solve this in 0 moves. So I sort of assembled everything on normal, and then this ub to u here, I don't want it, so I'm gonna get rid of it with reverseness. So I'll do ub to u and then the scramble, and if you do that, you get this. Let me just cut the video. Okay, so once you are here, we can just get back to the dr part. So f2 u prime d2 f prime u, and we have this state. Of course, I went through the skeleton to double check that what I wrote actually works, and indeed I get m slice. So yes, I wrote down the thing correctly. And what I usually do for like the process I do goes like this. So I usually just do the first few moves normally first. So r2 d2 f2 u2 d2 r2 f2, and I try to see if this particular state can be sort of resolved pretty easily. And you can do it in r u2. For example, here you can either do an L or an R, right? But doing an L makes the slice worse. So let's just try doing an R. And then at this point, you can kind of see how to solve the rest. But that adds 2 moves, right? So that's not very good. Let me set up again. Right, so the next thing I can try is, let's just try to adjust some of the earlier moves, see if that will help. So in this case, I decided to try to adjust the earlier one. So this R2, I did R y2, then I just follow through the rest of it, d2, f2, u2, d2, r2, f2. And then at this point, if we go back to the WC orientation, we can kind of see the rest of the solution already. So you just need to do like LB2, then LB2, then R prime. So that is usually how I approach the slice. And anyway, that solves the slice in 0 moves. So that's a 20 move solution. Yep. So like, honestly, I wasn't actually entirely satisfied at this point because I felt like there could be a 19 on this DR. I also found another 8 to 3/4 turns of the 2 move EO on the inverse, but I'm lazy to show it, so like whatever. Anyway, like that one was pretty bad. So yeah, in the end I ended with 20, and it's a good start. I thought like so I mean, it's an easy scramble. Honestly, I was kind of expecting to get like a 21 or a 28 or 19 anyway, so like it's fine. Yeah, I'm quite happy with this one. Okay, so this is the second scramble, or at least like the inverse of it. This scramble was pretty bad, and in fact, only the first one was like any good. The remaining 2 were like pretty bad, but I got lucky on this one, so I'll show you what I mean. So this scramble had 6 bad edges on every axis, and in fact there was only, I think, 1 form of EO. Yeah, there's only 1 form of EO. Sorry, 2 form of EOs, but they were like HGR equivalent, and they weren't very good. So like I had to use a lot of 5 move EOs on this one. So let's just start. So I did green front. If you look at the bad edges on the inverse, they are here, 6 of them. So if you just do a B, it reduces it to 4 bad. And then at this point, I just switched to normal. Of course, I tried continuing, but of all these like 8 EOs and all the variations and stuff, I didn't find anything. So let's look at what happens after you switch. After you switch, your 4 bad edges are now here, like this. So this is a 4 move EOs. So if the continuation is 4 moves, so the EO is 5 moves. So I did D to put these 2 here, and then U2LF to solve the EO. Now, at this point, I see that white top DR is this like 7C 6E case, and I saw that it was very like blocky and stuff, right? Like you see, there's these like random big blocks lying around. So I decided to try something that I don't normally try, but I felt like it might work. So I did this. I did U2 to align this one and like this thing. Then I did R to just like reduce it to 4E4C, and that choice seemed to work because now I have this pair, this long bar over here, and then this corner. So all I have to do is just D, B2, U prime, R prime to get DR in 11. And actually, okay, so if I do R prime instead of R, I get this square and then like these 2 pairs and stuff. So, it's looking pretty good. And yeah, that one like random RZP and 7 thing that I did just worked out. You can kind of tell that like all the random blocks will be preserved anyway, so like I think it's not too hard to find this DR. Yeah, but it's something that if I was rushing too fast, I would definitely miss it. But you know, because the scramble looked pretty bad, I decided to like check the EOS a bit more carefully, and it worked out, I guess. So if you switch to inverse, oh right, I forgot to mention, this is a 3/4 turn DR, so it's 2C4E. So you see one good, okay, so it's actually 6C again like the previous one. So we look at the good pieces, 1, 2, 3, and 4 good edges and 2 back corners. So it's 2C4E. So if you switch to inverse, do the B, and then track all the bad pieces. They are here. Oops, they are like, it's hard to pinpoint them. So basically there's like one pair over here, one edge, and then this like square at the bottom. So what you could do is actually just do R2 immediately, and it actually sets up what looks like the 2C4A trigger, right? But if you do U prime, is it U prime? No, if you do U, you will realize that like this isn't the 5 move trigger, this is actually the 6 move trigger. So like it's not, I mean, yes, I tried that for sure because it's also an 18 to HDR, right? But that didn't give anything good. But what I realized was if I just do an F2, because these are all bad, right? It doesn't actually affect the next like move. If I just do an F2 and then I do an R2, it also sets up what looks like the 2C4A trigger, but this time it's actually the 2C4A trigger because like that one random F2 like will flip the direction of the first quarter turn like the other way around. So now I do U prime, and then indeed you see that like now there's these 2 bad pieces and these 3. B2 will now set up the 2 bars for the 2 quarter turn trigger. So D prime L2D. And at this point I realized like, okay, the top and the bottom isn't very good, but I did notice that it's quite close to like, you see, if I do U2 L2, it's kind of like you're off by like an M slice 3E, right? So I figured I would try to cancel into it. So U2 LR F2 R prime L, and actually this R prime cancels 2 with the normal. So I did an 18 to HTR, and I added 6 moves at the end, but cancelled 2. So this is a 22 to E slice, right? And 22 to E slice, but if you notice that this E slice has a D U2 in it, so it's technically a 21 to E slice, but never mind. So yeah, let's see how to solve the slice. Okay, so to solve the E slice, you see like these 5 moves, these can't be sliced, there's no opportunities there, so let's just move them to the start with RNS. And then, so we're gonna do like these 5 moves and then inverse all this back to the inverse and then come back here. So I just need to do the B, and now we're back here. So F2, R2, you can't exactly do a slice there, or at least I don't want to, so F2, R2, let's just do them. And then if you look at this cube now, you can either do U prime B2, right? But that makes the slice worse, right? So you can do D prime R2, and then just like intuitively solve the rest. It's pretty easy, and yeah. So we solved 22 to slice in 0 additional moves. So that's a 22 final, and I think that an 11 move finish of a 3/4 turn DR is pretty lucky. And like, you know, I was quite satisfied with this because I found it quite early, maybe about like 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and I actually went to look at other DRs. So I found this, like I was missing a lot of like random 6 to RZPs on this scramble just to like give myself more options, and I did find an 11 to 2/4 turn, but it didn't really give anything good, so whatever. Yeah, so like 22 on this attempt, I'm quite happy with this. It was a pretty bad scramble. Okay, so the third attempt, this one had okay, so this is the inverse scramble, but six bad edges on here and 8 on the remaining 2 sides. So again, it's like not a nice EO count, but there was actually let's see, I think seven 4-move EOs on this scramble, although I did try them and they didn't really give anything, so I had to check a lot of 5-move EOs on this as well. So the one I used was actually on red front. It was let's see, okay, so there are 8 bad edges, so let me just point out where the good edges are because I don't have enough fingers for the 8 bad edges. Let's see, oh my god, this is hard. Okay, so like this, they are here. Okay, so I know that if I do a D, I kind of create this like this shape of good edges, and this is a form of EO. So D, and then the way you solve this form of EO is you do L to solve. Okay, because four of them are bad here, so you just do an L, and then now you have these four bad edges left, and there's two ways to do this. Actually, you could have done the L as L prime as well, but I did L. So next, the one I chose was F D prime R. Okay, so now this is EO in 5. If you look at this, if you look at the white DR, it's already DR minus 4E4C, so that's pretty good. Then I went to switch because this case is terrible. So if you switch, you see that we get this like bar, and then we get this kind of thing going on where making the second bar isn't too bad. We can just do R2 to like join this, and then now we have this one. So just do a U2. Although given the E-slice configuration, doing a D2 would be it would work as well. But anyway, the one I chose was U2. But of course I plan to check both, so R2 again. Now I have two of these, and then D, U2, and F prime to get DR in 11 moves. I checked the corners, and this is a 4A2, so like these two, and then these two corners, right? And it's actually already set up to the 5-move HTR thing. So actually, like, if you can just do U, F2, U2, R2D to get HTR in 16, but I didn't find anything from this. In fact, I think this is pretty bad, but whatever. I switched, and then of course redo all those, and it's actually also set up to the trigger on this side of the scramble. So that's I thought that was quite interesting. So see, like the way to see the trigger is like you get this like square, and then this one single corner, and at the bottom you also have a square and like one single corner of like bad pieces. So anyway, the trigger starts with U to reduce it to 1/4 turn, and then now you have like the same like square dot thing on the bottom, but now you have like two pairs on top. So if you just do an R2, you now have a 2x3 and this line. So U2, F2 to sort of put the line down here, and D prime. Now it's HDR. And this case looks really weird, but the first thing that I thought was like if I just do R2, L2, you get like S slice and the E slice, right? So instead of doing R2, L2, I thought what if I do some S slice like FB prime, then I do the R2, L2, although it's now a U2, D2, and then I bring back the S slice, and now I just have E slice, right? And that's 6 more moves to E slice, but actually this 6 moves, it cancels 2 with the normal. This F prime and F prime with the normal will cancel. So I actually now have a 20 to E slice. So I was like quite happy with this, and honestly I wasn't expecting to get 20 to E slice on this kind of scramble at all, but well, it is what it is. So let's see how to solve the slice. Okay, so same as the previous example, this junk is like not sliceable, so we'll get rid of it, and then do the inverse all the way back, and we get this. So DL FD prime R, and now we are at this part that we're interested in to slice, right? So here you can either do a U or a like, actually I think D prime works as well, but here what I did was U, because the next move will be R2, which will solve like this part of the E slice, so that works. And then just like intuitively solve this and write down the move. So U prime, D prime, L2, U prime. So I solved the 20 to slice in one additional move. So that's a 21 final. And I was like really amazed at getting a 21 on this, not gonna lie. Okay, so actually at first, right, what I thought was that this was a 22, because I somehow like miscounted this and thought that this was a 12 move DR, right? So I was like, okay, I have a 22, but so I went to look for more stuff from this. Let me just show you what I found next. So what I found next was, instead of doing U2 at this point, I did a D2 to set up the next thing, right? Then D U2 B prime, DU2 B prime. I get the same corners of DR, and it's also 16 to HDR, but this particular thing didn't give anything good. However, what I realized was I could also just add a random like S2, right, to the thing, and it still leaves me with the same like setup Then now if I just solve the rest of HTR, so it's the same five moves but like rotated. So like D, R2, and then let's see, D2, F2 to set up the thing, and then D. And at this point, I was like, hey, wait a minute, isn't this just it's four more moves to solve? But the problem is, like, I thought this was a 20. I don't know why. Then, like, I wrote down the whole thing on my paper, and I realized, wait, this is just a 21. It's the same as the previous one. So it was a waste of a like because I found this at 55 minutes, right? Like, so I was like panicking and almost gonna like rush to write this down, but then I realized it was a 21. Then I was like, what did I panic for? So yeah, uh, I ended up submitting like this 21 instead because it was already on my paper. Yeah, so that's all for this mean. And actually, like, I don't know, I didn't expect to get 21 on like this type of like this overall set of scrambles, but it worked out. Quite happy with it. Bye bye.